Excerpt from the 705th Official Contact Meeting on Wednesday, the 14th of March 2018.
This organization works worldwide as the electromagnetic waves and very powerful vibrations determined by Yanarara and Zafenatpaneach prove, which also carry peace-impairing and hate-promoting sequences in themselves, which hit people around the earth and influence them maliciously, reduce all efforts for peace from the bottom up and make it impossible. In addition, these waves of vibrations in the software and internet environment manipulate the hardware, which are underhandedly designed to influence and orientate all peoples in such a suggestive way through the television, radio, computer and internet systems that they become indulgent with regard to the machinations of the upper elites. In this way, the powerful elites of politics, religions, sects and the arms industry, the economy, banks, secret services and all similarly acting organizations etc. can continue to prevent peace, equality and the freedom of all people in detail, as well as in the whole world. And this is done in such a way that hatred is driven up all around all peoples, be it through religions, sects, politics and all other machinations of any elements that sow hatred and nip in the bud every effort to bring peace and bear and exercise self-responsibility, just as they also destroy every touch of justice and freedom.
Very pleasant news you bring me, Bermunda, and the fact that hatred is constantly being sown proves this again at a time when in England a Russian ex-spy and his daughter are in mortal danger, because they have been poisoned with a Russian warfare agent, as happened to a Russian once before in England. The summit is now that the Brexit envoy May and most of the English government gang accuse Russia of having carried out the assassination attempt without any evidence and simply taking as an indication the poison that is or should be of Russian origin. So England is once again boiling up its traditional hatred of Russia, just as it has thoughtlessly imposed sanctions and expelled Russian officials etc. from the country. Although there is no evidence that Russia has a finger in the pie in this assassination attempt, but everything is based on nasty and hateful speculation and cowardly fear of Russia being reinvigorated. And all this only as a result of pathological prejudices and blank conjecture, which neither prove nor take into account anything concrete, that everything could be other than negligent, inconsiderate and irresponsible conjecture. Perhaps someone from Russia has something to do with how it would be possible, for example out of feelings of hatred and revenge, or perhaps not. The crime may have been committed in another way that is not related to Russia, but is due to purely private conflicts, antagonisms and frustration and bitterness. But be that as it may, there is the possibility of clarification of the matter, but also then the whole origin, the course of events and the perpetrators can never be determined. But the fact is that England is completely disregarding the fact that Russia wants to clarify the whole thing and therefore demands a sample of the poison found, in order to examine and clarify which origin and which kind it is, as well as where it can come from etc., for which England and Prime Minister Theresa May are offered no hand, but only accusations and hate speeches. Russia's desire is therefore not granted, but simply accused, as the West has always done since time immemorial and continues to do so now. And of course it is the case, just as it always has been, that the war crimes committed in all wars and never held accountable for them by the USA, which is addicted to world domination, make the same hateful accusations against Russia. But that is not all, because the EU dictatorship is also working within the same hate-driven and overflowing framework of its dirty hostility towards Russia. In Switzerland, too, I have heard idiotic speeches condemning Russia without hesitation, just as morbidly stupid and lacking in intelligence, as is the case in England, the United States and the EU dictatorship. Effectively, brainless and useless elements, impregnated all around by hatred of Russia, are at work, who must shout their stupidity and their insanity out into all the world, because they do not recognize in their primordiality that they are less in their lack of intelligence than an exceedingly useless and deadly insect. Such a thing will at least still crush, while these unconscious in their stupidity, intelligence limitation and elementary misery of mind and reason do not even carry so much value in themselves that they will crush. So it can also not be for them that even a hint of an intellectual and rational thought can glow in them to ask themselves why the ex-spy, who lived in Russia, had not been secretly killed there, because there probably no cock would have crowed for it, because it probably would not have attracted attention. But precisely, the hatred against Russia, which has existed since time immemorial in England, practically throughout Europe and in the USA like a deadly plague, but also flickers up again and again on every possible and impossible occasion around Russia, defaming its government and the entire Russian population is, on the one hand, a tradition of the West, which thinks itself better than Russia, and on the other hand, a means of money and power, through which the discord and the lack of freedom can be preserved. This is precisely because, on the one hand, the war industry and the entire economy etc. can be preserved by armament and the trade in war material etc., while, on the other hand, it is possible to continue a permanent state of feud and to maintain a level playing field for war weapons, and thus to lie that this is necessary in order to maintain peace. But a so-called peace in the form of war weapons staring equality is in reality not peace, but a cold war that can be plunged into a hot war at any time by the madly power-hungry elites of the states. And if this happens, then the peoples are so stupid that they submit to the command of the warmongers, let themselves be suggestively seduced to murder and go to war, either to lose their own lives, or be killing, murdering and massacring other innocent people without hesitation. And this is done because the power elites order it, but the people simply howl along with the elite wolves in a thoughtless, meaningless and irresponsible manner, instead of thinking, deciding and taking responsibility in this regard that no war should be waged, but that peace, freedom and justice should be created. This, however, on the one hand in every person himself, on the other hand in every family and community, in every country and people, all over the world.
If all that you have said were to be obeyed by the people of this world, as well as all that you have taught since your youth, then the earth would be a paradise, and the whole populations of all countries would be a humanity of true peace, the reputation of which would spread venerably in the universe. This is the opposite of what is the case today, since there is a lot of talk of discord, hatred, racism, lack of freedom, inequality, war, crime and destruction. When we talk about the earth, its humanity and everything that has been happening on this planet every day, year after year and for thousands of years due to the earth's population, which in many ways is completely degenerate. We all need to also spread news, as is the case on earth, of course showing what is happening on earth in all ways, and the same information is spread among our federates, so what is happening on earth is widely known in the universe.
Well said, Bermunda. But you are well oriented towards humanity on earth and its catastrophic machinations and behaviors. And that with you and your federated news. From the earth, I already know that from Svath, from the father of Ptah,